Hey everybody, what's going on? It is Jason with the Boardgame Mechanics, and today I'm going to finish talking about my top 18 favorite vintage games. Now, we did 18 through 11 previously, so today we're going to talk about 10 through 1. So, without further ado, let's get started. All right, so my number 10 is actually a game from, what's this say, 1700s, and it is called Hanafuda. And this is a game that Katie grew up playing with her grandma. It's a Japanese card game where what you're trying to do in this game is you have these little cards that are the size of tiles. I would click through the pictures, but it distracts me from looking at the camera, so I'm not going to do that. But you have these little cards that are like this big, okay? And you are trying to collect other cards that are in that season. It's a game based on the seasons. And when you play a card down, when you play a tile down, if it matches something, you get to pick it up, and you can flip another card over, and if that matches, you can make that match. And you're trying to get different sets of cards that score points. Now, this has a little bit of a push your luck element because there's eventually a point where you may get a point, but then you can decide if you want to keep going, which you say koi koi. And then if the other player gets a point before you, though, you lose everything that you've gotten. So it's a really like laid back, chill little card game, but it's fun. We have a video of this on our channel with the new version with the art from Vincent Dutrait. So you can go check that out if you want to. But if you don't want to, watch my video. There's plenty of other ones. If you played this game before, let me know what you think about it because I really dig it. So my number 10, Hanafuda. My number 9 is a game. Oh, let's see. It's from, I can't read that screen, 1970 something. And this is actually Monopoly-esque. But the reason I got this game because it has a fantastic board. We'll get back into it. But my number 9 is King Oil. This is a game that has where you're basically an oil tycoon and you're drilling for oil. But the cool thing about this game is the board has these rotating like trays. There's 3 of them, and you're going to rotate them around randomly. And then you're going to be putting this little thing in, and it's going to tell you if that has oil in it or not. If nothing pops up, that means there's no oil. If something pops up, that means it has oil in it, and you have to pay some money, but you've been able to drill a well, which is awesome. Basically, what you're trying to do is you're trying to bankrupt your opponents by drilling as many wells as you can, then putting pipelines into their property so they can go bankrupt. That's effectively it. So it's a fun game. It's a little mean probably, but I enjoy it. So my number 9, King Oil. My number 8 is a Sid Saxon classic. You can see kind of what the game is here. It's Can't Stop. This is just all rolling, all push your luck. You got some dice, you're rolling them. As long as you can make a combination of numbers from those dice that you have made previously, you're good. If you make something that you haven't made previously, you bust and you lose all of your progress. You're trying to get up to the top on, I think, 3 or 4 of these different tracks to win the game. It's super fun. It's fast. It's just a ton of fun. That's all I have to say about it. I love it, and I don't own a copy of it, but you can find it at a thrift store sometimes. There's bajillions of different versions. Let me see if I can find an actual different version. Well, this box right here is cool, but you can see, like, here's what the game actually looks like. It looks fantastic. It's a cool stop sign with some bits. Everybody's seen those bits. Yeah, it's fantastic. So you can find it. There's a ton of different versions. There's a really cool one that I want. It's like Route 66 or something where you're driving down Route 66. It's just all a track, like a straightaway. It doesn't have this cool look to it, but same deal. So my number 8, Can't Stop. My number 7 is actually one that I got because of the gimmick. I love gimmicks. And this one has a cool patent machine. And this game is called the Inventors. Let me see if I can show you the patent machine, because that'll really make it worth it here. Because that's the crux of this game. So let's see. Okay, so here's the patent machine. So you're going to roll the dice here. Well, this is the dice rolling machine. And then you're going to be able to check out. You can click some patents. So let me see if I can find the patent machine. It might have been in there too. I think it's in there too. But there's a cool machine where you can put these little silver patents on the cards to let them know you've gotten a patent, and it's fantastic. It's just a roll around trying to get as much money, invent things, get patents, score points. That's it. So I like it. We don't play it a ton, and I don't know why, but if you have a chance to check it out, I highly recommend it. So that is my number, I forget already, 7, The Inventors. All right, so number 6 is a game that I wanted because it's got like this little cool casino board, and that is called Go for Broke. So let me show you about this game here a little bit. Effectively, in this game, what you're trying to do is you are trying to basically go broke. And you're going to be doing that by playing at these cool little casino games. Let's see if I can find my version of it. This is mine. So here's the box of my version. On here, you're going to be betting on the ponies. You're going to be hitting the roulette table, betting on some stocks, and I forget what this one does. But there's 4 different casino games you can play to try to turn your money into losses. You're trying to be the first player, I think, to lose $1 million. I'm not sure of the amount. Depends on the number of players. So there's a varying amount. But it's a fun game, moving around the board, making people lose money. You're losing money. Sometimes you win money, and that's bad. Sometimes you can bet on the horses and you win. It's bad times. But it's a fun game. It's rated pretty low, which is sad. Like 23,000 or something, which is crazy. But I really enjoy it. A lot of these older games don't get any love because they're effectively roll and move, but it doesn't make them any less fun. So that is my number 6, Go for Broke. Number 5 is actually a version of Clue, but this is, in my opinion, the version of Clue, and that is Clue, the Great Museum Caper. And this is a one versus everybody game where somebody is trying to rob the museum of paintings, but you don't know where they are, hidden movement, and everybody else is trying to find them and capture them before they make it out of the museum with a certain amount of paintings. So let's kind of show you what this one looks like here. I don't know how familiar people are with this one, but it comes with this awesome like plastic board. You have video cameras that you can use to try to catch the baddie. It's classic Clue pawns. Some of the rooms are locked. You can see the locks in there. You can't get out. And the opposing player who's hidden is trying to steal these paintings without being seen. If they can steal it and then on the next round move without getting caught, they actually take the painting off of the board and it's theirs. So they're trying to capture, I think, 3 or 4 of them before everybody else can figure out where they are. There's some cool like dice on how far you can move. There's another dice that tells you which ability you're able to use, which is this white one right here. Like there's security cameras, you can ask a question, all that kind of thing. It's a super fun game. I don't play it a ton just because I don't like a lot of games that are one versus everybody. But if I'm going to play one, this will probably be the one that I like. It's easier to teach. It has simpler rules, and it's a familiar theme because everybody knows Clue. So there you have it. So my number 5, I need to remember these. Clue, the Great Museum Caper. So number 4 is going to break the rule. So a vintage game to me is a game that's over 20 years old. Most of the ones that I like are over 30 years old. But in this case, this one's only 17 years old. But it feels crazy like it's from the 80s or 90s. And that is Whoowasit by the great Dr. Reiner Knizia. We have a video of this on the channel. And in this, it's a cooperative game, a kid's game, where players are moving around this castle trying to figure out who took this scary ring. But the interesting thing about this is there is this electronic box. Let me show it to you if I can find it. Electronic box. So when you go into a room, you're going to ask it a question. And based on what you ask it and what animal you push, you can see here, there's 5 different types of questions down here. And based on what you ask it and what animal you push determines if what clue you're going to get. What you're trying to do is you're trying to figure out which one of these characters stole the ring and gave it to the evil sorcerer. If you can do that by the time the game is over and the evil sorcerer returns, you win. It's a simple deduction game that is a ton of fun. It has multiple different difficulties, and it's just a ton of fun. We played it on easy, medium, and hard. I'm terrible on easy. With my daughter, I was terrible. But on hard, it makes for a decent adult game. So that is my number 4. Whoowasit? Number 3 is probably the game that I've played the most out of all of these. And That's because I played it with my daughter a ton. We've done a live video. And I've also played it with some adult friends because it's hilarious. And that is Electronic Mall Madness. If you're not aware of what this game is, it's effectively a roll and move. You're trying to go to these different stores to buy items. You have to buy so many items from the store and get out. If you're the first player to do that, you win. But the rub here is, on your turn, you're going to push the electronic thing in the middle. It's going to tell you whose player turn it is and how many you're allowed to move. Sometimes you may have to go to the parking lot if you leave your lights on. Sometimes you might have to go to the food court and get pizza, which derails your journey around the mall to buy things. It'll change up what stores have sales. It'll change up which stores are out of inventory. Sometimes you have to go to the center to the bank to use your ATM card to get money out. It's super fun. I don't know. I just like this game way more than I should. I'll show you what it looks like if you're not familiar here, but this is the board in all of its glory. Like that thing right here in the middle is the awesome electronic bank. It's super fun. Yeah, it's not a great game by any stretch of the imagination, but the value or the fun factor of this game is off the charts, and I have a great time with it. So my number 3, Electronic Mall Madness. Number 2 should be no surprise to anyone, well, other than the fact that it's not number 1, because we have talked about this game ad nauseum, and that is Gambler. And now Go for Broke was about losing all your money. Gambler is about trying to be the first player to get to $1,000. I think it's $1,000. It's just smaller denominations in this. And you're doing that by moving around this board. You may have a potluck. You may win like the lottery. But ultimately what you're trying to do is you're betting on these dice in this like cool dice shaker. Let me show that to you because that's the gimmick here. You have this awesome dice shaker. And you're trying to get certain values of dice that come down to this dice shaker so you can bet on them every so often when you land on a space. And you can see like only one person can bet on each of these, but based on what you bet on, if it hits, it's going to give you some decent cash. If you can get a straight, which is the dice in here, you're going to be getting a pile of money. So, you know, that's good. So it's just a fun roll and move game, gathering silly stuff, having silly things take place, and just trying to make the most money. So unlike Go for Broke where you're losing it, you're trying to get into this. Betting on horses, rolling some dice to see what happens. It's just a solid game. It's super fun. Again, not the greatest game in the world, but it's enjoyable. And I have a fun time every single time I play it. So my number 2, Gambler. Number 1. Now, this may surprise some folks, but I've played this a ton with my youngest daughter, some of our other gaming friends, and it is a blast every single time, and that is Bermuda Triangle. If you don't know what this game is, it's a roll and move game where you have these, I think, 3 or 4 boats, and you're moving from port to port trying to collect different goods. You're trying to get a certain amount of money worth of goods. But the rub here is there's this terrible Bermuda Triangle piece. Let me see if I can show it to you. This piece right here in the middle of the board here. It's going to spin around, and it's got magnets on it, and it's going to go over sections of the board, and it's going to suck up your boats. So if you're out in the middle of the ocean too long, like these spaces here, you're at more risk. Because after everybody's turn, every round, the triangle is going to move. And you're at the mercy of a spinner, of where it's going to move, how far it's going to move, and what direction. And it's a ton of fun. It's super tense. Sometimes the triangle can go right over you. Nothing happens. Sometimes it barely even touches you and it sucks you up. And it's just a good time. This game is fantastic. It doesn't get a ton of love, and I don't know why, because it is amazing, and I love it. So my number 1 vintage game of all time, Bermuda Triangle. All right, well, that is the end of my top 18 vintage list. So we did part 1, 18 through 11. This one's 10 through 1. Hopefully there's a couple games on there that you've never heard of, or maybe you have heard of them, and you get them off your shelf and play them again, because they are a fun time. These games don't get a ton of love. Ultimately, they're not the best games in the world, but they pack a ton of fun. They're usually pretty cheap because nobody wants them, and it's just good. So if you want to check them out, I have videos of a lot of these. Otherwise, you can, look them up. They've been around forever. But until next time, thanks for watching, and as always, keep gaming.